Hello, all. Welcome back to our weekly podcast here. What we got going on at the PPN. My name is Alfredo. I'm joined today by the lovely Scooty Scott Borgstrom and the ever manly Corey Paradise. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good, I'd say.
Yeah.
I'd
It
be
it
doing
it
better if VoiceMod didn't update their stupid thing improperly. Because normally I like to slide my music in and out, and get a nice
It was
fade.
kind of blasting, and I
Well,
felt
it was
bad talking
blasting
over
for
the
you
intro.
guys. That's the thing. It was blasting for you, but not for
Okay.
the stream. I've been getting around it,
ah
but usually you can do all the adjusting of sounds like in the program while it's playing, and they just updated it, and it doesn't do it anymore. And it's like, dude, you get rid of the best feature.
See,
So
I think we can isolate this and we can
I
send this to VoiceMod and say fix your shit, right?
I think it's time that I maybe consider sending you one of these, Corey. I'm not playing.
Dude, so long as you don't send it through FedEx again. My God. Dude, Troutdale is like the place where packages go to die. Like, it's...
Yeah, didn't you receive like 3 or 4 like beaten up packages
No,
like
I
recently
received
from them? Or
one.
no?
But
One,
it just...
okay.
It got there on a Thursday.
Uh-huh.
It was supposed to arrive on that Thursday. It got there on a Wednesday. Stayed there until Monday. And then got delivered on Tuesday.
If I didn't know any better, it sounds like you just described that Solomon Grundy like riddle, right?
Born on a Monday. Delivered on Tuesday. Lost on Wednesday. Sent back to sender on Friday.
Resent again on Saturday.
It was an adventure to watch that thing. I was at some point I was like, am I ever gonna get it? Like, and then when I got it, I was like, am I gonna get multiple pieces of the thing I
Oh no.
I shipped? But no, it all came intact, and I'm using it now. So we're making it work. Programs are not. They are changing that in VoiceMod though. It's already been identified, and they've already talked about changing it. So
Oh, well, good. Well,
yeah,
good.
push it out
Saves
faster.
me an angry email.
I wish I had enough energy to do that. Let's be real. Like, they're like, call your senator if you don't like, dude, picking up the phone. Like, it's asking a lot nowadays.
Yeah, like I don't wanna even call for pizza, man. Like, what do you mean I wanna call my senator? No.
Damn, I could go for some fucking pizza.
Ah, dude, don't say that. I actually could go for some pizza right now, too.
What? You fucking started it, man.
No, dude, it's because pizza's been on
Said
my
the-
mind. All right, so I took a nap and I was like, man, I'm kind of hungry. Maybe I should order some pizza. Woke up. It was like 10 minutes before we started. I'm like, I didn't order that pizza.
How a bummer.
Do you ever do that thing where when you wake up and you doze back to sleep, and then you're in this like weird realm of awake and sleep, and like you'll have dreams of something that's happening in your immediate vicinity, and then you'll wake up and that thing won't happen, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, I used to do that when I was in college. I used to have that with.
Hypnagogia.
Is that what it's called?
No, I mean it's
A hypnagogic state.
something like that.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's
Ooh.
like where your mind is extremely susceptible to like your reality being altered.
Because like the way it would always happen, I always remember this, is I would be laying in bed and I'd see the time, I'd doze back off, and then I would have a dream that I got a text, and that I would reply to the text and then go back to sleep, and then I'd wake up and I'd look at my phone and there was no text, and I never sent anything, and I would just be in this weird loop of like, what is reality?
Fair. I would often, as a kid, and it even happened to me a few times as an adult, I would have a dream that I got like a toy I wanted
Mhm.
or something, and I would wake up thinking that I actually got that toy. And then I would
Ooh.
go and I would check like where I thought I left it in my dream or whatever and be sorely disappointed. Or like I think as I got older, I would wake up and still have that excitement and then realize man, I was dreaming. And just be really bummed out that I didn't get the thing that I dreamt about. Like, it's almost the same logic as those women. They're like, I had a dream that my fiance cheated on me, so I've been giving him the silent treatment all day. Like, fuck off, bitch. What are you talking about?
But what if he does?
What if he did?
What's that Reddit called where it's like a bunch of users that think like that, and they kind of like circle jerk themselves in an echo chamber, and like give each other advice on how to be like that. Like,
Jeez.
yeah, you've never.
That, like,
that's a
No.
thing.
Subreddit for female dating or something?
Yeah. It's
Wow.
not. It's not dating. It has a very specific, like.
But that's
subreddit.
like what it's about, right? It's like dating
That's
as
yeah.
a female.
That's what they think it is. Yeah, that's what they think dating is like getting your person you're dating to buy everything and
Just
ensure
being
you
a
never have to
manipulative
work
fuck.
a day in your life.
Yeah, if they don't, he's cheating. Sorry.
Yep, that's part of the internet. That's the world we live in. That's where we're at right now. We are sharing the airwaves. In fact, we're sharing the same website as we could be straddling pickles and showing off our booties. And boy, would we be we probably wouldn't make any money, but we could. You never know. Do you want to try it? Mutt
we totally
Hardcastle's like return stream is a hot tub stream.
Oh
Got
yeah,
like two ratchet
the meta, the Twitch meta.
Dude, I'll trade you I'll get you like some good ASMR microphones, and I'll trade you for that keyboard, and then we can just I'll produce your show for you.
See, I love how we don't like talk about like, oh yeah, I'll buy this off you. We go the old way of like, I'll trade you a microphone and like 2 other cables
Dude,
for
I
this
got 2
keyboard
pudding
you got,
cups.
right?
What do you got?
Well, if you want to give me that sugar, I'll trade you for one of my cows over here.
Wow.
Good deal, I'd say.
That's
Bags
some
of sugar.
how much sugar you
Good
giving
deal,
me?
dude.
Holy shit.
3 bags.
Yeah.
But we're not doing that. Instead, we're talking about Logan this week. Talking about the movie Logan this week instead of doing all that.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, did I say
You're the moderator,
Logan?
right, Scott?
I meant Rogan, the Joe
You're a
Rogan
one-man
Fear
Monty.
Factor documentary.
Dude, I
No, that
gotta
is
give
correct.
it to you. Probably the best, one of the best movies that's been chosen for this show. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was like as a whole, I thought it was probably one of, if not the best superhero movie I've ever seen.
I thought it was a pretty good adaptation and a good way to let's just say spoilers ahead here. So
On this show?
you done been warned.
On us?
Spoilers for
Us?
Logan.
What?
Spoilers for us? What?
I think it was an excellent way for. Oh, geez, what's that Australian cunt's name?
Hugh Jackman?
Hugh Jackman.
Huge
Jack
jacked
Human.
man to hang up the claws, his big meaty claws.
Dude, it's amazing to watch him in this and realize that he's a sing-songy, like, theatrical dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
I think the movie right after this, he played Barnum Bailey.
On The Greatest Showman.
Yeah, and that's
Ooh,
a
I think
musical.
so.
Like that's a straight musical, I think.
He also sang in Les Mis, right?
Yeah, so like, it's just funny because he's like outside of this role, he's not like this at all. This is all a character, all an act. But it's so good that you feel like, man, he's got to be kind of like that. Maybe not full on rage Wolverine all the time, but like you feel like he's got to be that way most of the. There's got to be some part of it that's him, and I think it's just all an act. He's just a solidly good dude.
Well, it's funny because, to keep talking about him, after he did both the live performance of Greatest Showman and the movie performance of Greatest Showman, he did a tourism video for Dundee, the son of a legend returns home. Like a year later, and it's like that's That's not the movie. That's not the thing I would expect you to be. You're Wolverine. You've been Wolverine for 17 years, man. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, I believe that this kind of stemmed from, wanting to conclude that
Hmm.
his, or at least his stint as that character. Did he beat Robert Downey Jr. to retiring a character like that?
He did, I think.
Logan came out before.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
Logan
did.
came out in 2017, and
Yeah.
Oh
Endgame came
yeah.
out
Oh
in
yeah.
yeah,
Well, bam. There you go.
like 2-3 year difference on
Get
that
your
one.
heart out, Robert Downey Jr.
It's weird for me to think when this movie came out because it wasn't like I was in high school. You know, we weren't in high school when this movie came
Mhm.
out.
Hmm.
In fact, I was graduating college when this came out. Like it was the same year that I graduated. So it's kind of like I look back and I go like, wait, I feel like this movie's been out for way longer. I feel like I should like how did I miss this at that time? Like that was
Hmm.
like the prime time for this kind of movie and I just completely went
You
right by
missed
me.
it.
I did and I would have loved to see this in theaters. I would have
I
loved
believe I did.
dude, I'm jealous cuz like the fight scenes where just people's heads are getting shredded and
Yeah.
arms are coming off, especially that first one where you're coming into the car scene and you know shit's about to go down. You've seen X-Men movies, you've seen Marvel movies. You know there's going to it's the starting fight. You got to have it. Like and he comes in and the first slice of just like the dude's
And the
arm
arm
goes off.
falls off.
Dude,
Just
I would have loved to have been in the
removed.
theater when that happened. It would have been fucking magnificent.
Magnificent. That's all I can think of when I hear that word. Yeah, man, I love this movie. What did you think of the I guess what genre, if you had to give it, or a subgenre of
Oh
film,
God.
would you give it? Besides a superhero film, yes, but
And
what
not
kind
like
of
an
tale?
action, but like a
Action?
Hmm.
no. I mean, like it's obviously an action movie. Like,
Yeah.
Hmm.
there's no ifs ands or buts about that. But that's a hard one to say. It's because it's like I don't know. That's a really good question. How can you what are because I know what you're saying. Like it's this kind of story of like
A lot of themes that it could be.
yeah.
It's got like a bit of a Western sort of vibe,
Hmm.
especially with the parallels between that movie and Shane, which is the Western that they're watching in the casino hotel.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Um, and then it's obviously like like a father and child story,
Yeah.
um, with Laura and like what it means, I guess, for Wolverine to be a father.
But it also has elements of that like the quest of like the holy grail in a way of like this place that may or may not exist, this legend.
Yeah, you're like
Hmm.
wondering and doubting if Canada is really we need to go further north.
And
Yeah, we're doubting Canada as a real place.
I really love how like I thought it was a joke. I thought the placement of the X-Men comic in the beginning was
Yeah.
just kind of like an insert, like like an Easter egg, like, hey, look at that, But then it became a real thing, and it was
Mhm.
like, whoa, that's like the amount of world building that incorporates all in itself without even doing anything else. Just like X-Men comics exist and they're canon. Like that in and of itself adds so much complexity to what it must have existed before.
Yeah.
And
And also the inclusion of Patrick Stewart's character and one particular line that he gives
who is
when
that?
he's talking when he's
Oh,
Patrick
Professor
Stewart.
X. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Um
I haven't
and
seen. I
that
should preface this. I didn't see. I have not seen any X-Men movies.
Oh,
Really?
okay. So you would have missed this. So, do you recall the line that Professor X gives Logan? He said, "When I found you, you were a cage fighter," and like
Yeah.
he legit he says that, and I forget
Yeah.
the rest. So that's actually from the first X-Men film. He like Wolverine is literally a cage fighter, which
Oh.
brings in the canon of the other films into this too.
Whoa.
Hmm.
It's not like a standalone what if story with the same actors reprising these roles that they're known for.
Oh
It's
wow.
like a
It's legitimately the end.
yeah,
Yeah.
canonical,
Hmm.
end, um
kind of
Yeah.
beginning. Yeah, this is it's
Well,
weird. It's like it'd be like if Marvel set like the MCU showed you like what would be the movie right before Infinity War? You know, like but it would be like showing you the last film in a
Ooh.
phase first, you know, or like showing it to you halfway through a phase, and
mhm.
then because I feel like now anyone who has to go watch an X-Men movie is also kind of like, all right, when does it happen? Like
Yeah,
when do
people
the
have been
steps
wanting to
are?
place it. And
Yeah,
the thing about it is that with like the first class series of movies that have like Sophie Turner as Jean Grey, um and well, I think a better example would have been oh Jesus Christ, James McAvoy as the young Professor X, and Michael Fassbender as Magneto,
Mhm.
who I fucking love him in that role, but that's neither here nor there. Just want to throw that in. Um, the placement of like the timeline is kind of all fucked up right now, and it doesn't really concern Marvel a whole lot. They could do whatever they want because this is FX's or this is Fox's shit.
well now
But
it's Disney's
oh, now it's Disney.
That's true.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the buyout.
Well, we'll see what happens with that.
Mhm.
Yeah, it'd be
I
really
do love.
interesting is if they actually did get Hugh Jackman to reprise his role at
Oh,
some point, where
dude,
it's like he's already made this
dude.
hard stance of like, this is it, this is the last
Mhm.
one, I'm moving on, and then it's like,
Yeah.
but the Disney claws bring you back, like, and he'll like show up, he'll be like, here comes Tobey Maguire in the new Spider-Man, here comes whoever played him in the Amazing Spider-Man, I forget that one, and then
Andrew Garfield.
yeah, here comes Tom Holland, and then here comes
Here comes
Yeah, he walks
Wolverine.
out of the
here
same
comes Hugh
one.
Jackman.
He comes walking out like John Travolta. He's just fucking. He just walks out.
And that's it. And we never see any more X-Men, and that's their canonical existence in the MCU. Is this one little like, hey,
I did want to talk a little bit about the comic source material. Are you guys
Mhm.
familiar with Old Man Logan at all? The
have you
story?
read it?
A little bit. Is that the one where he also dies, but in a different way? Right?
No,
No.
not
Okay.
really. He doesn't
Okay.
die. And in fact, there's a continuation to the Old Man
Because
Logan story.
and there's
Really?
I know that I haven't read this, even though the Marvel shirt I don't I know of Old Man Logan, and then I
Mhm.
know that his initial series came out, and then there's been an ongoing series of Old Man Logan, mainly written by I think Jeff Lemire, um, which I like him because he did Sweet Tooth, which is now a Netflix show. He did Animal Man for the New 52. He's done
Mhm.
tons of stuff. So I recognize that name, and I know that's an ongoing series. And I also know that the Old Man title has snuck its way onto other superheroes like Hawkeye and others and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I actually am not familiar with any of the other Old Man titles. That's news to me.
Yeah, it's kind of something that they started doing. It seems like
Mhm.
Hmm.
after this, but I don't know anything about it. So I take it you know a little bit about, or at least some of the
Yeah,
source material. You want to talk about that?
yeah. So the premise that they share, like they as in the source in the movie, are that the other mutants were killed by another mutant. In the
Mhm.
movie, Professor X's headaches or migraines or his seizures, are what like kill off all the mutants in his school of gifted youngsters. Um, but in the source material, um, it's actually a very well thought out, like very nefarious scheme by Mysterio. He uh,
Ooh.
he creates an illusion affecting Logan, and tricks him into thinking that the X-Men house, the school, is completely filled with like villains. Logan fucking kills them all, and then he's released from the illusion, and it's all of like it's the Marvel cat or it's the X-Men cast of heroes, and
Damn.
they're all fucked up.
So,
Oh,
So yeah,
Well,
Well, to compare this to another story, this is almost like the Injustice plot for Superman, where the Joker ends up fooling Superman into thinking that Lois Lane is, like Lex Luthor or someone bad, and he like sends her to space and like has Superman like kill Lois Lane in space, right? It's
Yeah.
that to 11 is what you're.
Yeah, because he completely eliminates a vast majority of the
Jeez.
super powered beings. America, legitimately
fuck
America,
yeah.
Mhm.
falls into disarray. It's divided between a couple of villains, and the Hulk takes the vast majority of ownership of the West Coast,
Mhm.
with the plan originally having being spearheaded by the Red Skull. So Mysterio was kind of the pawn. He wasn't the mastermind. And the story of the source, I'll just graze over it real quick. Pretty much, Logan, he's an old man. He's living on the Hulk's land, on the West Coast. He's got a family. He's got a kid. The Hulk's kids. Sorry, let me clarify. The Hulk's inbred children. The only person he could mate
Oh,
with was his
yes.
cousin, who was the She-Hulk. So his inbred kids are running amok. Logan has sworn to pacifism that doesn't last long after the Hulk's kids kill his family. Kind of like the only thing he had,
Mm.
left.
Mm.
Um, Takes on kind of a journey to the east sort of a thing, except the east is just the East Coast. And it all comes to a head with he kills, or I believe Logan kills the Red Skull, who at this point is like gone crazy because he has no enemy. Like he wears Captain America's fucking I forget if it's his face or if it's just his like cowl, the like
Ooh.
thing that he puts over. But yeah, he's gone pretty insane. Like even Spider-Man's dead. It's pretty bad.
Mhm.
And it concludes with um, Logan going back to the Hulk being a cocky piece of shit. They fight, the Hulk eats him, and Logan tears out of the Hulk, killing him. It's a good comic.
Wow.
You should check it out. You should check it out. And
That's pretty sweet.
and then the actual end is Logan walks through a sort of like portal to a different universe, and then that's where the series or the next series, Old Man Logan, picks up with Logan being like, "What do you mean this Chinese guy is now the Hulk? It's supposed to be Bruce, and then it's not Bruce, and then like somebody else is Quicksilver." And so that's a whole other thing. I don't know as much about that,
Hmm.
Mhm.
other than I think that universes that he walks into's Wolverine is dead effectively because he's encased in adamantium. So he like he's just a skeleton in adamantium,
See,
so
it's
he
funny you
can't like
think it,
heal.
it's funny you say that because I think that was the comic I was talking about where he's covered in adamantium and he's just kneeling and dead on like a
Yeah,
cliffside.
he's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird.
so. But yeah, that's the source material. Now, obviously, that doesn't happen in the
Mm.
movie Logan, but it is cool some of the things that they borrowed
You,
from it, at least to
you
kick
could
off the
see where they
story.
could have inserted him, into the story. Like they could have
You
made
talking
that
about the
one.
Hulk?
No, no, no. Like the
Oh,
Red Skull or anybody like
mm,
that. Like you could the doctor, the
Mhm.
scientist that chases them. They could have inserted a super villain there and gotten away with it too.
Mhm.
But
it wasn't for those fucking meddling kids.
I kind of like that they didn't. I like the story. I like the way that it kind of is. It's not too far out in the world where you have to worry about thinking about all the other stuff. It
Mhm.
kind of keeps you on that one track, and it pulls at your heartstrings along that way. Um, it's interesting that you say that because when you say like his past, like the comic book canon is he kills a bunch of all the mutants
Mhm.
or most of them or whatever. It makes the line when he's talking to Lara and he says like, I've killed people. I have blood on my hands. It is something you will have to come to terms with as well. and she says like, I kill bad people, and he says it's all the same. It makes that whole line very, very different in the context if it was, the comic book of like,
Oh yeah.
like
No, you're right.
it's
Oh no, I
very,
thought they were bad people too. They were my friends.
but
Damn.
that's cool though. Like that's that sounds like a comic book story. You know what I mean? Like when you think of, all right, what's
One day the villains are like, enough is enough, everyone. Just fight somebody that's weak against you. That's the Red Skull. And he's fucking, you should fight Spider-Man. You can hold him down. Whatever.
you know, I also have to say is like my only experience really with the characters, because I haven't seen the X-Men. I'm aware enough to know that X-23, this is her first like appearance on film. So seeing like I don't read the comics of X-Men. I don't watch the show. I've never watched the movies. The only thing I really know of X-Men are video games, like Marvel and like Marvel vs. Capcom, and Marvel Ultimate Alliance and games like that. And what's cool is I feel like the only experience I've had with X-23 is Marvel vs. Capcom, where she's like this flippy high flying, zipping around, like very hard to nail down and do anything to, and she's very aggressive, but she's very weak. And it's cool because when she fights in this movie, I almost see the similar like I feel like they had to have played it and gone like, all right, we got to pull some of this, like where she's just everywhere all the time, and you can't nail her down. She's just this force that you got to deal with. I'm one of the biggest critics of child actors. I hate those little fuckers. Get them out of here. They suck. They suck. She was great.
But
Like
yeah.
she was awesome. There's a couple scenes where you're like, okay, she's young. Like she can't express a high range of emotion. Like when she's sitting there eating her cereal. It's kind of like that's a very flat performance. But then it's like juxtaposed after that where she just goes ape shit, and it's like, all right, well, I'll look past that because that was pretty badass. Like that
walks
scene
out, tosses the dude's head like a bowling ball. Like
you're
a
like,
bowling
okay.
ball. Like a
Okay.
bowling ball.
Be like,
When
okay,
we
cool.
watched
Maybe we
that-
can pass the cereal scene for a bit.
Yeah, when we were watching, because we watched it literally a couple hours ago is when we watched the movie, and we watched it together, Scott and I, and after that scene, I was like, that was probably the coolest fight scene I've ever seen, like in a superhero movie. Like they really took into consideration their powers. They didn't make it like overly easy. Like it was a hard fight. Like you felt that. You felt like they had to struggle through that, and that like they would come to it. They would come to a problem, and he'd have to figure out the answer. It wouldn't just like, and here's the answer. Let me pull it out of my ass for you.
The stakes were set up in a way where, for one, the fights in this, even though they physically might come out victorious, they lose something every time. You
Every
notice
time.
that? Like every time.
And it's like
whether
I mean, can you imagine it's also like the mental strain of like every fight you have is not easy. Every single one of them. There's not a single fight he has except for that opener. And even it is a fucking punch in the face, a kick in the balls to him,
yeah.
And you
his claw wasn't coming out all the way either, or something.
yeah, he had
Remember?
there was that there was
wasn't
that,
he drunk? He was
that
drunk, right?
gross scene of him pulling the claw out of his arm. It's like, dude, that's what I feel like when I open my Xbox. I have to like help the disc tray out, and I feel like just pulling out its claws.
Yeah, and he's like standing over the sink and like forcing the fucking bullet
That
out of
was
his,
pretty
his
sick.
body with his healing factor. Like whereas before he just
But
wouldn't
what's
give a
cool,
shit.
dude? But this is like a testament to how good this is. This was on paper. I guarantee this was a great screenplay because he does that, But then it shows how the girl, how Laura is his daughter, because when she gets shot, she doesn't force it out just yet, but she just sucks the thing out. And it shows you that difference in, like, they're the same, but they have these differences that they're working through, you know? It's like that kind of stuff I like. No one else dealt with that. Nobody else dealt with getting shot and then figuring it out, except for those two characters who did it in ways that were both crazy. Like, and I like that. I love that stuff. You know, I picked up on that stuff. When we watched it and they were going through the files of all the patients, all the kids, I noticed on X-23's that she was O negative, and I mentioned that to Scott. I thought that was going to play a bigger role into Wolverine's, like, maybe, like, recuperation, because an O negative means that you can transfuse that onto anybody. It's always accepted, and so I'm like, okay, he's getting poisoned, you know, like, I thought maybe it would go that route. It didn't end up going that route.
Yeah. But... So before they mentioned the adamantium poisoning, because that's what was killing him, right? The adamantium just in his bones, just corroding his body. What did you think that poison was, right? And I always like asking this question because adamantium's not a injected into your veins kind of like.
I kind of assumed it was that.
Yeah,
it's his bones. Right.
His bones are covered in adamantium. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's yeah, so the trade-off was like he has sharper claws and you know he's fucking heavy. But because his body would naturally reject the adamantium, he's constantly in a state of his body having to heal. And as he's getting older and his healing factor isn't as strong as it used to be, it can't keep up with the adamantium in his body anymore, so it's killing him.
Yeah.
That's like at least that's my canon for it. I haven't seen anything like hard confirm that. Yeah, but that's kind of what I interpreted from it as well. At first, I was like, "Oh, he's boozing so much that his liver can't keep up," or something. Because, see, okay, let's back up a little bit with the Marvel universes. Healing factors are kind of bullshit, man. Like, let's back it up to Captain America. His metabolism, because of his increased healing factor, which isn't as strong as Wolverine and Deadpool's, mind you, doesn't allow for him to get drunk. His body processes alcohol too quickly, which means which means for fucking Wolverine and Deadpool to get his shit housed as they do in their movies. Well, I don't know that Deadpool gets drunk, but he definitely shoves like a couple packs of cocaine up his mask and then just fucking. As one does.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out that there's a bit of an inconsistency in it, but the screenplay itself actually, I mean, obviously the screenplay does, but it says the man is Logan, aka the Wolverine, or more accurately, drunk Wolverine. So he is drunk. He is like intoxicated. I mean, it's not a deal breaker for me. It's whatever. But I did want to point out that the fucking Marvel with the goddamn healing factors. There's a little bit of inconsistency with that there.
Well, I think it might be also because he's older. Because previously, other movies we've seen, the Wolverine drink and he's been fine. So for this one to see him kind of like hobble out and wobble and a little bit, your first inclination is, oh, he isn't drunk. He's sleepy. He's a little groggy. He just woke up. Go easy on him, guys. He's a little tired. He's a tired Wolverine, and then he gets his shit kicked in for like the first 5 seconds of the fight.
Yeah, the interesting thing too, the screenplay. You mentioned it, Corey, and so I looked it up. It turns out it's the first link on Google when you Google it. We ought to start doing that more often. But it does mention him specifically, like protecting the limo, like he's because. He's like taking a beating so that they don't fuck with the car. Because that's the plan. That's like, I need to make money to get the professor out of here because we're gonna go on a fucking sun seeker, and we're gonna ditch the albino.
when that character showed up, I was immediately like, who the fuck is that? Like, I don't recognize this mutant. Like, I figured it, but I did like his costume when he was out in the sun. Whoever designed that, I thought that was really just, it looked like a comic book page come off the page and into reality. That was kind of that look. I don't know why. It's such a strange thing to like point out, very specific, but that wardrobe I really dug. I thought they did a really good job at like making it so that it appears like he's truly living there, trying to come out in the sun. But I wish they kind of, honestly, I wish they were less ambiguous about his powers, you know? I wish they kind of explained a little bit, like, how does his tune, you know, what does he do? How does his tuning forks work? How does he track these people down, you know? It's kind of, there's all these, like, weird little histories. Like, he's obviously there for a reason. And he knows Wolverine from the background. He knows Xavier. So, like, and he didn't work with them for a while. And then he apparently was working with the people that were tracking down Logan and Laura. And he helped them before by tracking down other mutants for them. So, that was, like, kind of a weird, like, you just kind of like, okay, well, I'm just never going to get the answer to that. But I liked at the very end, building up to like when they were chasing after all the kids in the forest. It was really fun because I'm building up, going like, all right, we're gonna get a mutant fight. We're gonna get a mutant fight. It's coming. It's coming. We're gonna see a bunch of powers. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It wasn't quite as cool as a payoff, but you know, seeing Hugh Jackman yell and run across a field, not fast. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't do like any special effects. They didn't put him on like a speed treadmill or whatever they're called, you know. They just like, all right, Hugh, you're gonna start there and you're gonna run from marker A to marker B as fast as you can. And they're like, okay, cool. And he's like, you know, he's running through just standard. There's something funny just about watching that, where you're expecting to see like some effect like they did with X-23, you know, like in that fight in the desert, they do some effects here and there to speed up her movements, and there's definitely some CG effects where she's being whipped around, or there's some smearing going on for sure. But nah, Hugh Jackman doesn't need that. He just runs through the forest like a lumberjack.
So I don't know if you caught this, Corey, but when he was leaping, to do like the actual.
Oh yeah,
that
2-1.
Yeah, and his legs would like pop up, dude.
Oh yeah,
that's how they were in the original X-Men, dude. That's how they were in like the whole series. So like to see him do that one last time, you're just like.
That was one of those ones. At least I'm glad that you pointed it out, because when I saw it, I was like, man, they did a much better job with the girls' effect. Like when she did her jumping around and swinging around and like her lucha libre, like
that's what she's doing. She's fucking shanking them. Oh, where is she? I'm a fucking liver.
Dude,
but no, it's cool to see that like pop up again. You know, you're just like, oh, well, I know this is a send-off movie. What are they gonna do with it? And then you see the wire holding up Hugh Jackman, and you're like, oh, they brought it back.
I'd like to know if in the comics, if canonically X-23 has a blade on her foot, or if that's a shoe thing.
What do you mean, a shoe thing?
Well, because she has, like I don't know, like some James Bond thing where like there's like a blade on your foot or something, like in your shoe. Because she has that one scene in the desert where she's being dragged off, and then slink, like, time for foot fetish, boys, and she like slices and turns around and sticks the dude through the face. And it's like, I know that she had those because she had those in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Like, I knew that was a thing. I didn't know she like literally had like claws in her feet like she does her hands, because that's how Xavier explained it. You right? Like, or maybe he was just making a quip at Wolverine.
It might have been a quip. I think it might have been a quip, but there might also be some truth to that.
I can't tell. What is
God
real?
damn it,
What
Charles.
isn't real? But he said, remember that line? He said, like, the foot blades are an extension of, like, superior female evolution. And he's like, shut up. And he's like, the lioness has, is both the hunter-gatherer and the caretaker, and thus uses her back claws for defensive. And it's
So
like,
I just checked. Those are
He's like-
actual adamantium like
claws.
blades.
So
Yeah,
it's legit.
claws in her
It's
feet.
like,
yeah, it's legit.
that's cool. I'll go with it. It's cool.
As the female lions, the huntress would go hunting. It's just fucking. Just call me stupid, Hugh. Just call me stupid, Charles. Get it over.
Dude, it really
Oh,
makes me
goodness.
wonder. The question of, like, it really does make me question, like, a bunch of stuff on, like, I kind of now want to go watch the X-Men movies, like, and I
So-
know they're not this good. Like, I know.
Unfortunately.
I looked at the cover of just Wolverine, and I was like, oh god, like, I don't want to watch that. That doesn't look great. That doesn't
Wait,
look like.
isn't X-Men Origins Wolverine the one with Ryan Reynolds as like the taped up mouth?
think it is.
Deadpool. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, dude.
And you know what? Besides that, I actually really enjoyed
You better
X-Men
actually.
Origins.
I gotta say, you better actually. Oh, now we're. Well,
Back to title screen.
I think we're good. All right.
No, we're good.
I misclicked a button, but you have
I
to
better-
actually. What?
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, you better actually thank whoever fucked up that Deadpool so hard that hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of people went, what the fuck? And demanded that something else get made, because if it was not, I guarantee you, if that didn't happen, you would not get the Ryan Reynolds Deadpool that we so
Oh,
beloved.
absolutely not. Absolutely
No.
not.
He's talked about it, how they were like, because he contested. He was like, "You're sewing his mouth? What are you talking about?" And they're like, "You can either do it, and you get to be Deadpool, or we'll get somebody else to do it." And he's like, "Oh, fucking, I want to be Deadpool." And that's kind of that was why he did it. But he's a big fan of the Deadpool character.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't he the guy that sent in those like 10 million letters saying "what the fuck" over to the company, right? Just under a different alias. Because he's probably like one of the bigger Deadpool
That's
fans.
some Joker brain shit right there. That's
Oh
some
my
Jared Leto Joker brain.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Dude, I'm gonna send you my dead rats next. Look out. How
And all
would
the
you-
meanwhile, I'm gonna have my hand over my mouth and draw a little happy mouth right here.
Are you
So
okay? Are you
bad.
choking, Jared? Are you
Yeah,
choking?
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Oh, what's this? A used condom?
Is this your cum? That's him.
No, it's a rat.
Some-
Oh.
The fucking
Sorry,
PA in the back. Oh my god, how did he do it?
God, he's so talented.
You know, last week we watched Joker, and what was funny is I was talking to Scott about this a little bit earlier, and we watched the Joker. The first movie I watched after that was The Dark Knight, and I was unable to not compare them, like compare the Jokers and whatnot. I'm not gonna do that right now, but what I also like watching those movies and coming to my conclusion about those two movies, and then watching this movie, made me really cement the ideas that I like understanding my characters. You know, like when you watch this movie, you understand Wolverine by the end of it. Like, there are very distinct moments and times that it's just, you can see the change in the character, going from being who he was to be accepting to who he is, and who he's got to be for the little while longer to help whoever it is. You know, he goes from a self-absorbed person to the most selfless person that you can get to, you know, and seeing that slow progression is I really enjoy that in a movie and with the characters. It makes it like when they die at the end of it, it makes you really kind of tear up and feel like sad, you know, like genuine sadness for X-23, and you can't help but walk away going, what does the future hold? Like, it's that kind of stuff really gets to me. And this movie, Joker really does it. This movie really did that too. Like, this is going into my rotational, like, I'm going to be watching this movie a lot over the the rest of my life. I've already looked up to see if I can get any posters and where, hang that stuff up. This movie was really good. Makes you think about a lot of stuff. And, there's kind of portions of it that you go, this doesn't make a lot of sense. Like when they stay at the farmhouse. That's a very blatant, like, this is the dumbest thing you could do right now. Like, stopping while you're being chased and involving innocent people, but even by the end of it, it's like you have to come to accept that that's the choices that were made by these characters, and they do such a good job at them making the stakes of that choice way down at the very end of it, and what's cool is it's not like any character gets written out as simple, because even the black guy that he helped pulls the trigger on him at the very end, like kills Hugh Jackman's clone, kills Wolverine's clone, and then standing in front of the guy that helped him, that but has still brought this whole mess to him, he pulls the trigger and then he keels over and dies. They could have done without the trigger pull, and he just like held the gun there, gonna shoot him, and then just slowly falls. But that little bit of extra like click, nothing, is kind of like it tells you about the character. It also makes you think as Hugh Jackman of that weight of like, fuck, I wish he'd done it, or like Hugh Jackman's character's in that place where you're like, did he wish that happened? Like, would it have just been easier for him if the bullet had come, if one more shot was in the barrel? Like, when a movie makes you think about that stuff, to me, it's special. The fact that it's a fucking superhero movie and it makes you do that makes it a masterpiece in my book. So if I'm going to rate this, maybe it's a little too soon. Maybe I'm jumping the gun on ratings, but I'm giving this I'm giving this a 10 out of 10.
Ooh, damn. Okay.
What scene cemented it for? What was your favorite scene, I guess?
There's a handful, but I think the scene that I was like, that I was on board, the scene that I was like, all right, like I had sat down into the front cart of the roller coaster, and I had buckled myself in, and I'm sitting there, waiting for things to take off. And the moment that the guy pushed the button and I go screaming down the runway, where I was like, all right, this is like, I'm in this for the long haul, was the scene in the desert with X-23 when she like attacks the dudes inside of the place, rolls the head out, and I was like, oh fuck yeah, dude, that's fucking metal, bitch, like hell yeah. And then it's like, I'm thinking, like, because at that point I'm going, how would I show that? Like, how are they gonna show her killing these guys, or are they like, what's this confrontation gonna be like? And I'm thinking in that standoff, okay, they're gonna like, she's gonna like zip around, maybe she'll just disappear, maybe she's so fast they can't, like, no, and it's like, no, all of that shit is bullshit. Like, I'm thinking like, I'm thinking like Quicksilver effects, I'm thinking like, CG effects everywhere, where it's just this superhero fight from like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I was just completely wrong. It was this hardcore gritty fight where she had to physically move around the whole battlefield to take out every person. It's not like anybody was a free kill. It was like you felt every kill, you felt every move, and you felt from the beginning of the fight to the end of the fight like there were multiple problems, multiple solutions, and the getaway was not the end all be all. Like, it was a hard fought win, if you could even call it that. I love that shit. Like, that's that stuff needs to happen a little bit more in superhero fights. Like they need to treat it like a John Wick, like a real fight,
Hmm.
because that's what they are in these universes. They're not smoke shows. They're fights with real powers. Like they got to be thought about in a different way. And this movie did it in a way that you feel every single punch, every single hit, every single move. Even the flying double fist dude into the dude's chest, where you're like, that's fucking weird. Like he does the whole leg flop, but then it hits, and you're like, fuck yeah. You're like, hell yeah, he does it. Yeah, because he's like, oh, just running out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, there are certain fight scenes that are really good. Like there's the Daredevil like episode 1 fight scene that's a oneer that's all the way down the hallway and back.
Uh-huh.
Really good fight scene. But this one just comes out of you out of nowhere and doesn't stop delivering in each take. Like it's fucking great. I can't. That scene was the one that did it. There's little scenes that I like where she's watching the television scene, with Xavier, and she hears the talk with the boy about death, and then it's the same thing that she repeats at the death of Logan,
Hmm.
and it's like just she's picking up on the world, she's absorbing things. Like it's that part of humanity kind of thing where it's like she is a little girl who is absorbing things and picking up everything as she goes.
Yeah.
It's that scene was good. I'm thinking like outside of the scenes like that were big action, you know. It's just all of it's really good. There's some things that I think were could have been a little less, um like the scenes with the tracker. If I wish his character was developed just a little bit more, so you cared about him a little bit more, so he was a little bit more a part of the story, because he does play a pretty crucial like component in the beginning, and then he kind of just gets sidelined as this one type of character, and he doesn't really even get a resolve. He doesn't die or he dies in the explosion, but then his body gets taken and tested on, like they take his tissues for reserves. Like that kind of sucks. I like that character, but you can't win them all. Some characters have to go out in the bad way.
Oh, of course.
But that scene, there's the scene too of like I I think it's funny where she grabs his wrist instead of his hand. It's like she's still trying to figure it out. She
Well, I
she
think
knows.
they both are. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
they both are. Right.
But I like that scene too, where it's like she hasn't quite figured it out, but she cares, and she knows that, but she just doesn't quite fit it in. And then when it does fit in at the end, there, it's like, I mean, shoot, dude. By the time that they're at, like X-23 and Wolverine are fighting together in that final scene, and he's like, "You'll know it when you see it," and it's like, and he goes off. It's like, dude, this is like the scene. This is like the fucking Atreus and Kratos. This is like what you want.
Yeah,
this
where
is
he
like
finally
everything
puts his hand
flows. Yeah, but where everything flows together and that everyone's working as a unit, and it's like the connection of them being father daughter, being teammates, being companion, like it's all culminates to that scene, and they, it's just awesome to see them work together like that. I really like this movie. I just
Yeah.
So I've seen it a good handful of times, and I've enjoyed it every single time. Scott, what about you?
I kind of wanted to kind of highlight Charles Xavier a little more, just because I think, and he's also a major player in a lot of the X-Men movies as well, because he is Professor Xavier.
Yeah.
And this is also, I think, his last romp into that world of X-Men, right? This is Patrick Stewart's last, I
Yeah.
want to say last X-Men movie as well,
Mhm.
right? So it's not just Hugh Jackman. It's also another major character, Patrick Stewart, which it does suck to see him die in that sort of way, to someone he considers almost a son. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a little sad to see that the father-son dynamic they had ended up
Yeah,
ended
it's
up blowing in
very
their face.
it's very there's something to be said about Logan's I almost don't want to use the word feelings, but
Mhm.
how he's so protective of him, how he's, he did like he kind of keeps from him what happened for a long time. He doesn't tell him that uh, you know,
Yeah, Charles is the one that did it.
yeah, that Charles is
Yeah.
the one who did it. And it took me looking back through the screenplay to kind of like jog my memory about this too. But in the beginning, they're having that exchange where Charles is like, "Fucking, you keep me hidden in here. This is no way to live. I'm hidden from the world and drugged, blah blah blah." And he's walking away, and he's like, "It's better this way. Like it's for your own good."
Hmm.
But also, um, they have this exchange where Charles straight up tells him, he's like, "What a disappointment you are,"
Yeah.
and it hits hard.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
considering everything that he's fucking going through to,
Hmm.
to like protect him,
Yeah.
to hear that is fucking rough.
Yeah, and I think it's worse too because Logan never heard Charles's last words too. It was X-24 is what they called him, right?
Yeah.
Um, it was him who heard the last words, but he's a robot. He doesn't give a fuck. He's an experiment. He doesn't care. You know what I
He's
mean?
not a robot. He's
Well, he
a
acts like a robot,
clone.
right? He acts
He's Jack
almost like
Human.
robotish, right? Jack Human. Hello, it is me, Jack Human. Can I enter your house? But no, and I think this kind of was the reason. Well, he is the reason that they ended up, suffering so many like losses and whatnot. But I think Charles's need to just try to at least help people again, like he did in the past movies. I think that is why Wolverine didn't put up a fight. Because he's like, well, he's old. I'm not gonna win this. And maybe it's for old time's sake. I'm not entirely too sure. This is all just like speculation, but to me, at least, it comes off as like he cares about Charles as a father figure. You know what I mean? They've been through so much. They're probably the only two people left from the school of, Charles Xavier. And they start joking about it and they have a laugh at the dinner table, and they're both smirking at each other and throwing friendly insults, And obviously we know Charles just called him a disappointment like twice, right? Um, but it's kind of that like that need to be human that Logan doesn't have, that I think is why he doesn't get it. You know what I mean? Which, God, dude, it just sucks to see these people go, man. They've been a part of our lives for like 17 years as these characters. You know what I mean?
And that scene where he tells him that he's a disappointment,
Hmm.
it comes at a time, at least the first time, it comes when he's like just had a senile episode. He's like he's like moving around the silo, like almost like picking up radio signals, or like he does that like Taco Bell commercial.
Yeah, that weird Taco Bell advertisement.
So it's like he's almost picking up like the radio waves and stuff like that. And so when he says that to him, there's a part of you that goes like, is he, was he being serious? Or was he like just saying, was he saying things at, was he being serious, or was he not thinking about what he was saying and thus being serious? Like, was he just saying the thoughts that were in his head unfiltered? It is a pretty weighty, like, fuck, like pretty big blow. And if you add the comic book canon to it before like adjusting to what this book is, that's an even bigger blow. Like sounds like that's an even more real thing where it's like you just killed everybody. Like, I'm disappointed in you, son. Like,
Yeah.
that's fucked, man.
Yeah. Well, I think that disappointment comes from the fact that Logan just turned his back on, trying to, live up to what Xavier taught him, And I think that's why he keeps calling it a disappointment, is that he gave up, in Xavier's eyes. He just gave up. He stopped trying, right? But I think it ended up showing Logan that like, fuck, yeah, I do gotta have some sort of emotion, right? But if I were to give this movie like any sort of rating, I think 9.5 out of 10 is up there, right? Because I do wish some things were elaborated on, right? Like Caliban, because same like you, Corey, when I was first watching
Caliban.
it before we started
That's a fucking
our
cool ass
Discord
name.
call today, right? Yeah, it's
Caliban.
cool. And then you realize his power is he sniffs for super mutants, right? That's his fucking power. He sniffs something, goes,
Oh, I
oh,
guess that is his power. Was he's just
that is his
sniff?
power.
He has the super sniffer.
Yeah.
Dude, he's Burton Guster.
Yeah, and his weakness is light, so it's weird, right? It's like I wanted a little more on him, because he's there to
makes
protect,
sense. That actually
right?
makes
He's
sense.
there to protect Xavier. Yeah, that's why
But-
he's at the house.
Well,
think about his mutation though. It makes sense though, because something that would need smell over like sight, like that would need an enhanced smell, would be something that either lacks sight or evolved in some place without the need of sight. So like a cave or something, where you could then imagine living underground or living in a cave. You don't need as much sunlight, so when you get exposed to sunlight, it would be harsh. It kind of I can see it. It makes sense. I get it.
Yeah, I would love a little more explanation on here on like him and just some more character development from maybe some other characters. To me it feels like it's missing a little bit more, but overall the movie is very solid. It's great. It's fantastic. It almost made me cry at the end, because it's like 17 years, man, of Hugh Jackman. 17 fucking years, and this is, like when she turns the cross to an X, and you're just like, fuck. That was the last of him, wasn't it? Just, it hurts, man. It hurts. You're like, wow, end of an era. That's crazy, right?
I can't believe you guys waited so long to watch it.
I've been meaning to,
Well,
I've been meaning to, but like with all the social, like everything coming out that's like, oh, it's an older person and a younger child, right? Like God of War and, The Last of Us, right? And a couple other things I'm not remembering, right? It's like, it kind of just like, what's your take on it? You know what I mean?
Are you actually asking my take?
No, but if you want to put your take.
I just never saw it. Like, I didn't know it was gonna be this good. Like, I knew it was. I wasn't a big fan of the X-Men movies. Like, they didn't really capture my interest. So, like, seeing this is just like, all right, it's like a grittier X-Men set off in the future in its own little universe and that. Like, cool. I had no draw to the character. I had no draw to Hugh Jackman. I had, like, no reason. But I knew it received really good reviews. I knew it was rated R, but that was it. And now I definitely kick myself, like, fuck, if I could go back. Yeah, what did you think about this? Of course, this was your movie. You chose the movie for today. So, I mean, what do you like about it? Why did you choose the movie?
Well, I was surprised. I guess I picked it because I wanted to watch some sort of like X-Men universe, story.
Mm-hmm.
I love that they share some traits. There's like some similarities to the rest of the Marvel films, but it's not set in the same cinematic universe. So it's like a good quality, like it's almost on the same level of quality as a Marvel film. Here's a better way to put it. It scratches the superhero itch, without having to turn to Marvel, despite the fact that it's not DC doing it.
Yeah.
Like I feel like DC superhero movies, like the live action ones, for some reason they're like they just feel, holy shit, Corey, your door just opened on its own and it was quite startling.
Oh
It's
my
just the
God.
Okay, if you say so, man. I got
I guess
911 on
podcast isn't
speed
ending
dial.
anymore. Shit.
Well, have you have you seen, like, because most of the DC movies have not been rated very well. I think the highest, kind of the best ones that were rated was like Shazam was pretty high up there. Wonder Woman was. Did you ever see Wonder Woman?
I did. I did finally watch Wonder Woman.
It's okay.
Hang on a minute. No, I didn't watch Wonder Woman. I watched Wonder Woman 1984.
It's terrible, but the first one is okay.
Hmm.
But it's not. They're not anything. They're not Logan. Like they're not.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah, that's
there's
true.
Joker. You know, they have those movies in the DC universe, but a lot of the ones that they tried to go for like the cinematic universe really flopped. But
Yeah,
have you watched the Suicide Squad, the new one?
no.
I
haven't
you've
even
seen
watched
it,
the-
right, Scott?
I've heard it's good, but no, I haven't.
Oh, well, that's what we're gonna watch next week.
Okay.
'Cause
El
that one-
Escuadrón de Suicidio.
That one keeps getting consistently really good reviews. Everyone really likes it. It's really fun. It's jam packed. It's action. It's balls to the wall. So the fact that none of us have seen it, and it's a new movie.
Hmm.
That's
Is it
perfect.
is it a do-over of the first one? Or-
No, actually, do over. I would say like almost a reboot, if you would, right?
Well,
Um,
when I watch it, what I'll be looking for is if they say new anywhere. If they say like the new Suicide Squad, because in the comics there was the Suicide Squad for a long time, and that had like rotating characters that were in and out and joining in. But there's kind of a core group. But there was also the new Suicide Squad, which was like a revitalization of the project with different characters. So,
Mhm.
but I'm not sure. I actually don't know.
Okay. It is a standalone sequel to this 2016 movie, so
okay.
yeah.
So it's
Like
it is a
continuation.
sequel. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I just pushed a button again. I keep pushing buttons.
It's the ghost that opened your
Dude.
door.
It's my lazy fingers not staying in the air.
Maybe you need to unsheath your adamantium claw and press the button. Maybe that'll do it.
Okay, so Deathstroke,
Okay.
right? So Deathstroke was in the first Suicide Squad, yeah?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, he was played by Will Smith, I think, right?
No, that was
Yeah,
Deadshot.
That was Deadshot.
Deadshot.
Okay.
Deathstroke wasn't in the
Deadshot
first
isn't
one.
Slade, right?
Well,
No.
Deathstroke was in Justice League at the very end. He like boards a yacht and talks to Lex Luthor. I think that's
Ooh.
how like the original cut ended. I think.
And that sorry, Will Smith was which one?
Deadshot.
Deadshot. Okay. And then Deathstroke was played by the guy who played the bully in Spider-Man 1, right? That was him.
Maybe he honestly didn't even have like a role. He like came out of the ocean, had like it was kind of like one of those like it was like the post credit scene kind of thing where it's like supposed to whet your appetite for the next thing.
Yeah. Joe Manganiello.
Yeah.
Manganiello.
So was that the
Another one.
bully?
Yep.
Damn.
Same guy. Ron Perlman.
Okay, so I'm looking at the cast list for Logan, by the way, and apparently Laura's grandpa is uncredited in this movie.
Hmm.
I didn't know he was even in this movie.
He's probably got his head chopped off.
Maybe.
Actually, you know what would be a really fun, like, if you could go behind the scenes and kind of look at how this was done logistically?
Mhm.
A ton of those soldiers had, like, face masks and, like, armor on and, like, coverings.
Mhm.
I wonder how many times the same guy got dismembered in this film. Like,
Ooh,
you know what I mean? Like, one of
yeah.
those stunt guys, like, so I got my arm chopped off twice, my head chopped off, both my legs skewered, I got thrown into a tractor. Like, you
What
know.
did you get, Steve? She impales my leg and I fall over.
Oh,
I'm
and
the
so
guy that got
Idris
hit in the
Elba
nuts.
plays Bloodsport.
Yeah.
I saw
In the
the
new
costume
one.
and I assumed it was Deathstroke.
I think
No, no, no,
I
no.
Or
assumed
the
that
other one,
too.
Deadshot.
Actually, I assumed that too. I thought he was taking the place of Will Ferrell, or not Will Ferrell,
Will
Will
Smith.
Smith. Dude, Will Ferrell in a Suicide Squad. No, I'm just kidding. That's called Step Brothers. Um, the I actually want to watch that because not Step Brothers, Suicide Squad, because the Polka Dot Man, like that's one of those characters that I feel like only a director like James Gunn would look at and go like, yeah, that's
Yeah, I want him.
like,
James, are you sure? I mean, he's just got poked. That's on him. No, him. Now. I put a fucking tree in a movie, goddammit. Bring him in.
wow, that's loud. Let's try that again. It's still pretty loud.
But, Alfredo,
time's a charm.
what would you rate this movie? Because I don't think we got your rating.
I give it a 9 out of 10. I enjoy watching it every time, the whole time. It's a good movie, you know. It's not. It's all. Like I sit down. If I'm gonna watch it, I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna finish it in the same sitting. Like I'm not just gonna tune in for a few moments because you gotta take it all in. Like it's a good enjoyable movie to watch, even if the ending is a little sad.
But at least it has an ending, you know. There's a beginning, there's a middle, and there is an end. You know, it's not like No Country for Old Men where you're kind of left like, huh? Like it just ends. You know, this is kind of like one of those ones where you go like, you know, you want to know what goes on, but you're also like, this was Logan's story. You know, this isn't X-23. This isn't Laura. This is Logan. And when he dies, it is kind of like a, well, but I want to know more. But this is where the story ends. Like, this is where the pages run out, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's a 9.0, a 9.5, and a 10. So as a cumulative of 9.5. I think that's ranked up there with
Joker.
With Joker. I think Joker received 2 9.5s and a 9. So that's
No, actually, last week I gave it a 10.
So there you go. So Joker, Logan, we just need to start finding like names for movies that are just one word. Like
movies that humanize characters. Come on. Easy 10 for us.
So that means next week's movie is already not going to make the cut or not be as good. The Suicide Squad. That's what we're going to be watching next week. The Suicide Squad from 2021, released just a couple months ago. I've never seen it. They've never seen it. So it should be an interesting show next week. We'll be going on Wednesday, most likely. If not, I'm not going to tell you. You just got to figure it out. But if we are here on Wednesday, we'll be here at 7 o'clock. If we're not on Wednesday, we'll be here at 7 o'clock some other day. But it's always going to be usually like 7 o'clock, right?
Yeah. You'll have to check.
Over on the YouTubes, you can find today the Superman 1978 show just went up. And that was a pretty good show. A lot of background stuff was documented, so there's a lot of interesting background about that movie in that episode. You can check that out next week. The Joker podcast is releasing, another great one. And those are going up on YouTube and the Spotify, the PPN podcast, wherever you get them. That's where you'll find them. Scooty, what do you got going on?
Well, outside of watching Suicide Squad, we are going to be playing a couple other games over at twitch.tv/ScootyWins, where we're going to either get better Apex, we're going to play Rise, we're going to play something, or we're just going to get DMCA'd by watching a movie on stream, so who knows?
Well, we all got plans. Alfredo, what do you got going on?
I decided, just because I don't have the capture card, that I'm giving up on the whole internet, and I'm just gonna sell everything off. And I was like, just because I don't have a capture card, it's not a good enough reason to not stream. I'll find something to stream, So maybe I'll do some like Resident Evil 5 on PC and just stream it, stream it that way.
Yeah, you two still need to play that.
Resident Evil 5?
Mm-hmm.
Corey and I need to play that?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't own
it's
it.
only been you and me that's played it, Alfie.
Yeah, you feel like playing it, Corey?
I don't know. I'm in the middle of playing GTA San Andreas for the first time.
Oh
Yeah, don't
wow.
bother me. I'm playing Grand Theft Auto,
You should
Mom.
play that.
Dude,
You
I
should
don't
play
blame you. Dude,
San
I had
Andreas
to
is pretty
return
good.
that game, man.
Really?
My dad got me Grand Theft Auto San Andreas like within the month that it came out with the guide. Bro, with the
Damn.
guide. And I was playing it and I was all excited and I like took it home and then my mom is like, "Why are you playing Grand Theft Auto?" And I was like, "You didn't give a shit about me playing Grand Theft Auto 3." And she's like, "But I heard about San Andreas." And I was like, "What
Don't
did you hear?"
fucking
And she was like,
copy.
"You're gonna have to. You tell your dad to return that game." And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I'm like bunny hopping on the BMX for the first time, thinking this is the fucking tits. I can swim. I don't just drown because I came from GT3. So like as soon as you go deep enough in the water, dead. Car goes deep enough in the water, like whatever. Like GTA 3 was cool, but it was limited. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, I would get so scared of the dolphins, dude. I kept thinking they were sharks. I'd freak the fuck out. To this day, I can't play Subnautica, dude. I can't play Subnautica.
Ooh, I need
I
to play
assume
that.
everything's gonna fuck me up, and we don't belong in the water, dude.
Ah, that's
No,
crazy.
I
man.
agree. I agree.
That's it. So, yeah, all that to say, I'll find something to stream. I got plenty of games. I got Mother Gunship that I got for free. Some fucking Dead
Just gonna
Space.
start
I'm just
going
looking
through
at what I got.
your entire Epic Games catalog. Like,
I mean, we still
I got
need to
that
beat
one for
Dead
free.
Space 3.
I
If
got
that's
that
what
one
you
for
wanna
free.
do.
I got that one for free. I got that one for free.
I got the Batman games for free.
I got some fucking Tribes of Midgard. You fucks haven't even installed Osiris, I bet.
No.
Oh, what? Hey, Corey, I think it's time to end the podcast.
Oh, okay.
You'll have to find out next week if we did.
Yeah. But no, I got plenty that I can play on stream, even if it's just bullshitting around in Oxygen Not Included or some shit. So I'll find something to do.
Sounds good.
I don't know
They can-
when.
But whenever it is, they can catch you out at Mutt Hardcastle on Twitch.tv.
That's me.
All right. Well, then without further ado, we will bring this episode to an end. Play it out. And we'll see everybody here next week to discuss Suicide Squad 2021. Hope everybody has a good night, a good evening, good afternoon, good day, a good morning, whatever. Any and all. Hope you have a good day. See you all next week.